All right. Hello, my darling. So let me just sketch this out because the goal here is for us to have a model with you at the top, that you're the producer, and really you're a coordinator because while you could be creatively a producer as well and will be, what you're really doing is coordinating some of the pieces, many of which I will create, but we can co-create, again, but you're at the top. And the goal is to produce a certain number, a non-zero number of TBD shows at a high school or community level. So think West Potomac, so that basically your show would be a high school producing a TBD variety show or sketch show, and either on a monthly basis, on a bi-monthly basis, meaning every other month, on a quarterly basis, whatever it is. But the goal would be to have a non-zero number, somewhere between 1, 2, 4, 6, 10 of those going on every month. Doesn't have to be 10 high schools, each one doing every month. It can be whatever. But the goal is we're going to have a model that's going to be replicatable, based on the interest of the people doing it. Okay. Then the goal is to have each of the shows produce $1,000 to $2,000 of gross revenue when it happens, right? So if we do, for instance, if South County or Annandale, your old friends Annandale, if Annandale High School produces a TBD in February, the goal is for that TBD, that whole, run up to the show, immediately after the show, that period, that window, to produce, let's say, $2,000 of gross revenue. 1,000 of it goes to the people who are producing the show, right? Like the local people who are producing the show. And then 1,000 of it goes to the producer. So let's just say as our target, that's if they make 2,000. If they make 1,000, 500 goes to them, 500 goes to the producer, right? And let's say that, just so that you don't, sometimes if I use big numbers that are too big, it might kind of blow your mind a little bit. So let's just say that your target is to do 2 of these a month, right? Like, again, you're not writing sketches, you're not doing whatever, just facilitating it in such a way where there are 2 happening per month. That would be either $1,000 in your pocket or $2,000 in your pocket, right? Okay. My goal would be for us to be able to run an unlimited number of these per month, because really it comes down to helping the high school develop their community and their audience and the staff or the cast and crew and submitting sketches and all that stuff. And we're going to work on all that. So let's just go through this model. So my thought, Savannah, because rather than you going out to reach out to high schools, which you could do, I think the way to do this is to reach out to the college sketch comedy shows or groups. And then and you partner with them and they reach out to specific high schools with a model that we give to them. And the high school then says, yes, I'm interested. And they use our tools to announce it and say, we're looking for crew cast, just like we did with TBD. And here's a way to submit sketches. And we can do writers. I mean, when I say we can do writers' rooms, I'm not expecting, the goal is to do like a video explaining what a writer's room is, or to have the college sketch be the ones who host the writer's room, all that kind of stuff. All of this really right now is in the context of trying to do something fun, right? And then and the college sketch comedy can be kind of the advisors on this. And then we're the advisors on how to get sponsors and how to market the show so that you have lots and lots of people participate. I take care of the technology. If we had 100 high schools all doing a sketch comedy, their sketch comedy broadcast on Friday, February 13th, no problem. No problem at all, okay? If we have 100 shows, 100 high schools, and they are all submitting sketches, and they have 20 actors and 20 writers submitting sketches for 100 shows, no problem at all, right? Here's where you go to review the sketches. These sketches get sent to this sketch comedy group as opposed to that sketch comedy group. Don't even sweat that, okay? In the same way that you don't sweat about, does Netflix work, right? So, we'll develop the how to get sponsors, why somebody might want to be a sponsor, here are potential sponsors, and then marketing. And I mentioned in the last video, those two things are interwoven. They would choose a date. They would then produce it, meaning basically they would select the sketches to be included, and then they would record whatever needs to be recorded, whether that's an intro, whether that's a whatever, right? Like that's just the creative piece that we let people do, and they'll get inspired by each other. That's no problem. And then repeat. Can't really see it. Hold on. And then repeat, okay? And the question becomes, does Annandale High School want to do this show every month? Well, what determines that? 3 things. Do they have people who want to produce sketches? Or do they like the idea of grabbing other people's sketches? Do they like the idea, or are they good at marketing it so that people tune in or want to watch it, right, online? And then 3, which doesn't even really need to be connected to it. It affects you, but it doesn't really have to be connected to it, is do the sponsors, are there sponsors who want to, either sponsors who want to pay for commercials or sponsorship or whatever? And the answer to that is, are people watching it? If people are watching it, then sponsors will come. All right. But sponsorship will not be the only way that you make money. All right. So I finished this. 1,000 to 2,000 gross revenue. That's a business term, gross revenue. That means total. And then the theory is that 50% of that will go to the group. 50% of that will go to the producer, which is my darling daughter, Savannah. And then here are just a few ways that we're going to produce income. The clearest thing is sponsorship. And I don't want you to get nervous about that, because you don't have to put any money in your pocket until people are happy. Okay, that's completely fine. You could say, like, all right, guys, go out there and sign up sponsors, right? Like Piano Lab is signing up as a sponsor, and let's say they're going to give you $100. Well, don't charge it until the day of, until afterwards, right? I mean, and you can say, like, if they're not happy, you don't take it. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to try to find a way, or think through a way, that somebody will pay you to develop this, so that even if your first show isn't until 3 months from now, or the first show at any of the participating high schools isn't until 3 months from now, you could still be making $500 a month or something like that, right? But don't worry about that, because you'll do what the model tells you to do in terms of trying to get money coming in the door. That follows this. This is the first step. It's identifying groups, getting them to see that this is something they want to be involved with, identifying high schools, getting them to see that it's something they want to be involved with. Frankly, everything else is really easy, okay? Because if you have high school groups that are saying, yes, 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 I want to do this, or high school actors like you and Ella Daniluk that are saying, yes, 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 I want to do it, Everything else follows from that. All right, but let me just tell you quickly about the money. Sponsors and commercials, that's one. Donations is another, right? Like you could just say, remember, this part of this is going to these guys. They could say the Annandale High School sketch comedy troupe just has a little tip jar that says, we're open for donations. Okay, great. I have something called a parent networking directory that allows parents who have businesses, like your mom, like JC, like Coach Larry, who are like, adults and parents who have businesses, they can add themselves to the directory and make a donation or a sponsorship to you. I also have stuff that I sell businesses. And what I would do is have a relationship with you where basically if anybody bought my coaching program or if anybody joined my networking group, then I would pay a $50 finder's fee basically to your number, right? So all of this is fine because you just want to have things to sell like merch, right? Maybe we have TBD merch or life is better when sketched or, is it going to be funny? TBD, whatever, right? Like we have merch that people can buy online or we have programs, right? Maybe some of the professionals or some of the sketch comedy groups create a how to write sketch comedy online training program, right? Just an assortment of like 10 video instructions with like a PDF notebook. And we charge $20 for it, right? Think about your college prep genius class. That may have been free. Actually, I don't think it was free. I think it cost a couple $100. Something like that. And then a portion of that money goes to your pool. So that's products and commissions down here. And then I have other things like Kid Biz or my memory classes or other stuff where if parents or teachers or businesses buy those things, then I will have an arrangement with this entity, TBD, so that, maybe I make 5 sales on my products. And that means that I contribute $250 to the fund, right? That's fine. That still goes into your mix. So really what you need to do in order to make this work is be thinking through this portion. College sketch comedies, what would make them interested in being involved? Then getting them to reach out to their high schools and people in their high schools. What is the message that we would want to give to get them involved? We play out the process, but remember, we did this already with TBD, right? We had a place where people could add themselves as potential cast members. The theory was, here's how you do sketches. I can set up the technology so that we can handle 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever things coming in. It's just about thinking through the process, okay? But my target for you, if we wanted to launch this, is $500 to $1,000 every month. There are things that you would need to do to get there, but $500. If you make $15 an hour at Kilwins, $500 is 33 hours. Okay, 33 hours at Kilwins versus 10 hours, maybe less than 5 hours a week, working with sketch comedy groups in other schools, working with professional comedians and writers, learning the business side, like how one can generate money, and writing sketches and performing in sketches if you want to.